SummerSlam is this Sunday, and it looks like the card is slowly but surely starting to build up. And it looks like that there was a removal of a match, yet the adding of, let's see here, 1, 2, counting the pre-show, 3, 4 matches, I'm guessing here. Yes, 4. So we'll see what happens for SmackDown with the world title. First of all, the world title is defended on SmackDown. Well, it was going to be, but Alberto Del Rio set up Sheamus, which I thought was brilliant, with a few cops, or fake cops if you will, saying that Del Rio had an arrest or made a lawsuit or had a police report of some kind or something on Sheamus for getting rid of his car or stealing his car last Monday on Raw. The match was about to begin. The cops came and pretty much a beatdown on Sheamus. The new general manager, Booker T, said there was no longer a World Championship match, probably due to the injuries of Sheamus sustained during that attack. And we'll see what happens from there. There could be a possible, maybe another contender for the world title. They've been throwing a lot of people out there, but then a lot of people have been throwing a lot of people out there because some people have been released, and I'll get to that at another time. We'll get to the ones that are on the card, however. First of all, with the pre-show. Now, they've been doing a pre-show every once in a while. And at this point, this one kind of makes sense to put on the pre-show. Because Santino, although he is a good wrestler, has a horrible gimmick. And he uses it to the best of his ability, but it tarnishes the United States Championship, which means you're probably knowing what I'm going to talk about right now. The United States Championship match between Santino Marella and Antonio Cesaro. If that name sounds familiar, the former Claudio Castagnoli from Ring of Honor, former Kings of Wrestling with Chris Hero, who was also in WWE under, what was his name? I guess. I don't even know what they're doing anymore, people's names. It's ridiculous. But, and of course, Oksana's at ringside. Now, it would make sense to put the title on Cesaro because Santino, once again, great wrestler, horrible gimmick. It's worked for a few years, but, I mean, the United States title is one of the most prestigious titles in our industry. Why put it on Santino for a long time? I know Triple H is trying to make the champions have longer reigns to make it more credible, but at the same time, this is Santino as champion. I like Santino, but this has kind of gone a little too far. As far as championships, at least. So, with that being said, it's easy. Cesaro will win, and it won't be that long of a pre-show if that happens. Especially if Oksana gets involved. And the next one, what is it? Chris Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, I was thinking that Dolph Ziggler, due to the attack by Sheamus, would have somehow cashed it in, and we would have had a world title match on the card again. But that didn't happen, and it'll probably happen on SmackDown. I'm not quite sure. I'm just guessing at this point. So at this point, we have the current Money in the Bank holder. I would say SmackDown, but Cena already cashed his in and lost. Unless we have the clusterfuck for the WWE Championship, which we've already discussed. But with that being said, we have Dolph Ziggler versus Chris Jericho, the best in the world, versus probably his mirror image in Dolph Ziggler. This will be probably one of the best matches on the card, if not the match of the night. And if anything, with the revival of Y2J, it's simply going to be Chris Jericho. Now, if there's a world title involved, if Ziggler does cash it in before SummerSlam, we could have a potential world title match on our hands, and that could probably go either way at that point. Now, here's something I was going to go to a long time ago, in a separate rant maybe, but I might as well go over it now. Abraham Washington was fired by WWE for using a Kobe rape joke. The same rape joke, used in a different context I might add, but the same joke during a Big Show John Cena rap-off back in the day on SmackDown. Back then, it was acceptable apparently. Now, since WWE is all PG, and since Linda McMahon has a Senate seat on the line, it's not going to happen. So they got rid of Abraham Washington, the same WWE that made him have the Attitude Era, that made him push the mold, made him break the mold to make that Attitude Era, which, to be honest, was only around 5 years, from what I remember. So why would you even try to bring that back? It's been PG for the majority of the company's history, with some leeway for the time. But also, with that being said, it ruins all of the momentum of the primetime players. Which brings me to this next match. The primetime players versus Kofi Kingston and R-Truth for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It's been a long road with the primetime players, getting a shot, becoming the number one contenders, losing the shot, winning it back, losing a title match, and then getting another title shot. It sounds weird, but that's actually how it pretty much sounds. And at this point, I would love to see Titus O'Neil and Darren Young with gold, because they deserve it. After all the shit they've been put through in FCW, in NXT Redemption, in NXT Season 2, and most recently, getting rid of Abraham Washington. And finally, the Intercontinental title's on the line with The Miz defending against Rey Mysterio, the returning Rey Mysterio, who returned, I think, either on the Fountains episode of Raw or the episode before that one. It was either or. But with that, these are all pretty simple. The Miz, I don't see having a long reign with the title, but unfortunately, with what I said earlier, I don't think Rey Mysterio will win the Intercontinental title. I'm thinking he will, but I don't know if that will happen. So I'm just, unfortunately, going to say The Miz will retain his title. It's just really, these all being that simple. And with that being said, SummerSlam, unless there's any more matches last minute, SummerSlam is a Sunday, and the biggest party of the summer is on the final stages to making its fruition.